Well, I hope my camera's working. I just put a new kind of disc in it, and I hadn't used it in a while. I've been using my phone, but I thought I would put together a little film. About a year ago, I bought this 1974 Volkswagen thing, and I was dealing with a guy that was assuring me that he knew a lot about Volkswagens, and especially things, and he had been working on it, and he had put it up for sale, and I got to talking to him, and I thought we were going to trade a vehicle. I had chopped a 71 Volkswagen Bug and made it into a rat rod, but it was a sweet little ride. And then he got cold on the idea, and I gave him a cash price that was about $2,500 less than what he had been wanting. And I didn't hear anything from him for quite a while. Then about a month later, he called me and said that he had moved from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I live in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, south of Tulsa. And he said he had moved to Ohio and was doing some work, and then he wasn't going to use his car, and he wasn't going to use the thing anymore. And so he took the price I gave him. And I had looked at it and heard it run and stuff. Everything seemed to be on the up and up. And so I went up there to get the car, me and a buddy, and I wasn't going to drive it home, thank heavens. And I took the trailer up there, and we never got it up on the trailer. The carburetor wouldn't keep it, start right up and run, but you put any pressure on it, trying to get it. It was acting to me like it was accelerator pump. He told me he had a brand new carburetor and everything on it. So we got it home, and I worked on it a couple days, and let me get this thing. This is supposed to be a 34 pick 3 carburetor, and it was supposed to be he told me a Brazo, which is a Brazilian carburetor. And anyway, I took this thing off and I got to looking at it. There is not a serial number on it. There is not a name or anything, and I immediately thought, well, what I've got here is a Chinese copy, and that's exactly what it is. And I took it all apart, and I got into the accelerator pump, and it looks perfect, and everything looked perfect in it. And I put it back together, put it on there. It wouldn't run worth crap. So I went up to a buddy's shop up in Tulsa, and I bought a Redline Weber 34 pick 3, which is just a copy of it's Weber's copy of a Solex or a Brazo or whatever you want. But I took that carburetor right out of the box, put it on the car started right up and ran like a champ. I set the time and everything. And, but this is just, I think the carburetor cost me, I'm wanting to say it cost me $130, $120, something like that, brand new carburetor. I'm sure he paid, at least he told me he bought it on the internet, and I'm sure he paid $100 or so. And this is just, really, it's not any good. But everything seems to work all right. I've got another carburetor that I put a kit in, and the bushing in the throttle was wore out, so I may put the accelerator pump in this to see if it'll work. But what I wanted to do is just kind of show you this car. He had bought it. He told me he'd had it for about 2 years. It came with high back seats in it, which are not original seats, but he has the original seats over here, and they look like they've got a Acapulco design on them, like they might have came out of an Acapulco thing, but or what in Brazil they call things or Acapulcos. But I redid I had a poster shop for 20 years, and I redid the seats in there. I like the high back seats. And I'll tell you what, let me just turn the camera here and you can look at this stuff. Here are the seats. It also has a complete set of the 4 windows that just go in the slide ins on doors. They're not perfect, but they're really plenty good, because I don't know anything I ever had the windows in it more than once or twice in any of them. But these will clean up. I'm going to make a pouch for them that you used to could get, and I'll keep it in under the hood here. Somebody they put some kind of, not really crinkle paint, I think it's a some type of undercoating. They put it on the fenders, and which doesn't really bother me. And he well, I'm trying to find my other doors. The doors will just come off of this thing, but he had put some new air intakes on the thing, and they are painted with some kind of paint he put on the bumpers and stuff. And this was an original white car, and I have no idea why, but he gave me a can over here somewhere, some kind of industrial paint that they painted this car with. I'm painting it back. I'm painting all this opaque white. I'm painting it back in the white, bright white it's supposed to be. I put Euro lights on the back of these because I like them better, but I also have the full set of working tail lights for this thing right over down here. He gave me, I don't know how many parts that were supposed to be for this thing, and not hardly any of them were for the thing. They were for a Volkswagen Bug, and they do not mix. Whoop. I put the new carburetor on. I put Petronex electronic ignition in it. It does have, I need to put some, they have the heater hose, they have the air vent thing shut off, but I'm going to put the hose back on them and run them into the heat exchangers down here, and it'll work like a normal Volkswagen heater. Those do work. I put a new coil in it, new belt. I put a thing exhaust system on it coming out the bumper. This guy had put the battery back here in the back like they do on Carmen Gias, and I prefer the battery in the back, but there is no reason it couldn't be put back here and back under the seat, which this stuff will lift up. And they put the battery would set down here in the floor pan, and it appears that they have put a battery tray replacement in this thing, but they did a good job on it. And I thought that was the only place this had ever had any rust. This thing is completely rust free, and I took the windshield off to put a new rubber seal on the bottom, and I've got some pictures somewhere. I may try to post it up here sometime. But right from here, from the end to here, this was all rusted out. So I cut it out right here, made a new piece, welded it in, and I've about got ready to paint. I've got a new seal to put in this. I've got a new set of visors. I've put new places for the windshield to go down and snap into. I put new mirrors. These are thing mirrors with the connection for the, I'm sorry, I'm looking somewhere else. But this is the connection for your doors that come on the mirrors. Here is the plug-in for your windshield wiper motor, which I didn't have to put a new one on, but I fixed it. I put a new light switch in, which was, he gave me a Volkswagen Bug light switch. I got a Volkswagen Thing light switch. I put a new emergency brake switch in. I put in a new turn signal switch, the hose switch. I put in new wiper switch. I am putting in, yesterday, he gave me emergency brake cables, which I took everything apart on the back, and he did put new wheel cylinder kits in the back, and the brakes were fine, they were adjusted fine. And I'm working on the handle right now. I've got the new cables in, and I put new bearings and wheel cylinder kits in the front on this. And on the front right wheel, the what did I replace on that thing? I've replaced so much stuff. Oh, I put a new steering, the spindle, and the bottom torsion bar arm on the end, they were off a Volkswagen Bug, which will not work on a thing, and it had that all screwed up. So I got a Volkswagen thing, spindle, and torsion arm, installed them, put new seals and everything, new bearings and stuff in the wheels, and like I say, I put new brakes and wheel cylinders on it. I tried something on painting the wheels, and I like the wheels, but I don't like the hubcaps, so I'm going to put the chrome hubcaps back on it, and I think I'll put some beauty rings in there. I saw a guy do that, and that looked pretty good. The horn is not working right now. I think I've just got a bad horn. Transmission and everything shifts great. Clutch is great. Engine runs great. But what I'm doing, what I'm getting ready to do right now is I'm going to, I have a perfect top for it. And it's not new, but it is in terrific shape. And it looks great, goes up and down great. Somebody had already put the roll bar in it. Man, that's quite a few $100 ad right there. And when you put your top up, it rubs on the side of this. So I'm going to get some of that. They make those, it's called plastic barrier. And when I paint this, I think I'm just going to wrap some of that on here, and that'll keep it from scratching up the paint. That's bad. But I was trying to think, there was one other thing. Oh, he had the back right end was lower, and I didn't notice it when I first got the car. But I jacked it up and got under there, and somebody had pulled I'm 67 years old, and I think I need to be put in a mental ward somewhere. I forget what I'm talking about and can't remember what I'm talking about, but this has an IRS in it, and you got swing plate on the back, and they had pulled that out, and you can raise it or lower it about 10 degrees, whichever way you go on a click and stuff. Well, he had, and it had new bushings, new urethane bushings in the torsion bar under the plate back here, and he just couldn't. I know as soon as I saw what was going on, I said, well, he was either going to lower this thing or didn't know what he's doing, and he couldn't get it back together. And it is the dickens on these things to get it. You got to slide the torsion arm thing off of there's on the plate, there's a little piece that sticks out that sets on. Well, it's not hard to get it off of it, but getting it back up on it and holding it in place while you're trying to put it back together can be a real treat. But anyway, I got that done, and now the car is set and level like it's supposed to. This car is, it's going to just really be a spot on stock thing. But I've got so many projects. I've got a 3-wheel car that I built out here. It goes down the road. It's an 82 Honda Goldwing. I got to fix some paint spots in it. And I've got a 51 Cadillac that was made the year I was born and month that I'm working on it. So I think I may be putting this thing up for sale, but it's going to be it's going to just about, might as well say, be a new car when I put it back on the road. It has 23,157 original miles on it, and it'll have all new seals. You name it. I got a. It didn't have a spare with it. I got a new wheel, Volkswagen wheel, and I'll put that all back together. I'd lift my hood up right now, but I've got the hinges off of it because I'm going to paint all this. I think I'm going to take the dark part out, have it all white. It's got some decals. This guy loved these German decals, and he's put them all over everything. I'll take it off the glove box. But when I do sell this, and after I get it painted and stuff and start putting a lot of the stuff back on it, I'll probably make another little film. But I have gone through all the electrical stuff on this. It was a mess. And I'll get the horn fixed, but everything will be working. I went through the wiper motor right here, and it's working. It's got a good windshield in it, real good tires, and it drives really nice. I probably hadn't started it in 2 or 3 months. I don't know if I don't even know if the battery's charged up right now. But anyway, I'll start it when I get it all cleaned up. But when I do sell this, it will come with the original tail lights. They won't be on it, but you could just unscrew the ones that's on the back and then put these back on, and then you will have the side windows. And all you have to do is put them. You can see that door over there. There's a notch. There's notches up at the top there and right over there, and they just stick into them. And you know, not the most airtight thing in the world, but if you were in a rainstorm, it'd keep you out of it. This thing will go anywhere, and it's not even. I put some stuff on the floor under it to when I was changing the oil and everything, but you can see that there's pieces of stuff I've knocked off the bottom, but it's not even leaking any oil, which Volkswagens tend to do. But and I've got I think it's interesting, this car has a antenna, but it doesn't show any sign of ever having had a radio in it. They've got some kind of plate for some reason welded on the bottom of the bumper here, and I don't know if they were running a flag, but they wouldn't have needed that big steel. I'm just going to cut that off, and the bumpers tie into the fenders like they're supposed to. There is no and I'll put pictures of this. There is no rust in this car whatsoever at all. You just can't beat that with a stick. And they had some kind of carpet kit out of something, plus they had these little mats cut. But I picked them all up and looked under it, and then when I get ready to paint it and stuff, I'll show y'all that the floor is perfect, and I'll do some pictures underneath. But this is a dandy thing, and somebody's going to be getting a well. It does have a trailer hitch on it too, but somebody will be getting a well of a deal on a Volkswagen thing. I've had several, they just they're worth every penny, but you gotta really make sure they're not a rust bucket or something. And this is a dandy. But anyway, I'm just wandering around and talking. But I'm going to put this down. I think is 1974 Volkswagen thing project. I'm sorry about that. I hit my finger on the. But I'll put it on there as part one. So when I do the painting stuff and get that part straightened up and get her really ready to put out there, I'll put part two. And then I imagine when I do put it up for sale, I will put this, if I sell it on eBay or Craigslist or whatever I do, I'll put references to these two-part films so that you can look at the car as it's been going along with it. And of course I'll have it start and showing you starting it and driving it and stuff, so you know, and show you under the hood and everything else. And that makes them a lot easier to sell. Even before people come to drive them themselves, they'll know the majority of the car. But anyway, just wanted to, but did want to say, you know, I've been buying cars for a long time, and you'd think I'd get smart, but I never do. If people tell you they've got all these parts and they just didn't have time to put it in, they either knew stuff that was going on and they were just trying to get some parts to maybe do a quick fix or something, and then they get into it and they find out right off the bat, oh man, this is much more than I can do. And unless it says the thing, if you're buying a thing, if it says the thing shop and stuff like that on the parts that you get, or a verified Volkswagen shop, well, you know, it will probably be the right parts. But when you go to ordering on the internet, you got to be real careful. It's just like buying on the Samba.com on parts I need. I couldn't count the times. This is supposed to be for this specific model, and I get it, and it's for heaven knows what it's for. But anyway, I'm wandering again, so I'll get off this thing, and I'll try to get back on here pretty quick with this thing painted like it's supposed to be, and with the top on it and everything, so you can really get a good look at it.